What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. My name is JS. We are the Geeks and Company, and I have screwed the pooch.
We are something. We are certainly. Everything is going exactly as you guys would think it'd be going.
All right, there they are. There they are. All righty.
Hey, we can hear them.
I don't think the microphones are working, but we're here.
That's all right. We can still hear you. So that's...
I was just about to explain that we messed with you guys and then we lost you. But guys, this is the Geek Boutique. Today we've got a special episode. We're doing a part 2. That's right, part 2 to our Cosplay Survival Guide. The summer of conventions. That's right. It's going to be hot this summer. It's already been hot this summer. Conventions are in full swing, but before we get into tonight's conversation, we got a bunch of people around the table here. Of course, first of all, Mr. Aka Messiah Cosplay himself. Jeffrey, how you doing, buddy?
That just rolled right off the tongue. That was so impressive. Do you remember the first 100 shows? Like the first 100 shows, and you fucked up my name every single time. Now you're just like, yeah, nice.
It almost became a gag. I almost
kind of did a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a gag, all right. Yeah, things are great, but you're right, man. Things are stupid hot already, and it's only like early July type of thing, and it only seems to be getting worse before it gets better. So we're going to talk about it today. Obviously, ways to weather the storm, as it were, and keep yourself in a healthy spot in many different ways when you're doing the conventions in the summertime, because a lot of the coolest conventions are in the summertime. But not to be undone, joining us, I think, for the second week in a row, or like 2 weeks out of 3.
Is that weird?
Or so? It's not weird. I would love it if he was on every single week. I'm not it used to be his buddy Rob, but now it's Rob the bad guy. Rob, to what do we owe the pleasure, sir?
Swimming was canceled this week. I had nothing better to do.
Sweet. Perfect. Exactly. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. Precisely what I was after. Thank you, sir.
Swimming, one of the ways to stay cool in the summer.
Translation, I had nothing better to do.
Thanks for being here, Rob. Thanks for being here, bud.
Also joining us back for a return engagement. I don't know how many times is this now, Becca? This has got to be 3, 4.
No, it's like
4.
Yeah, it's got to be. We had you on the remote. We've had you on the podcast a couple of times, and then joining her. So not possible, of course. Our good friend Becca, who has been our roving reporter in the field and has also been on the podcast a few times. And I think we've even introduced you while we've been walking around the floor as well, interviewed you and talked to you at different convention stuff. But joining her this week is her dude, her guy, her constant companion, her handler.
I was just going to say, our friend Andrew Saxon likes to say,
right.
Her mule.
Her mule, yes. Hold my shit. It's also Matt Sheridan. Matt's joining us this week. Matt, how does it feel to be on the podcast finally and not just sitting in the background watching?
I'm always around, even at the events when you guys are doing it live. I'm there, and but it's just not. I'm not on this side of it very often, so I feel very welcome though. So that's thank you for having me.
Well, you started cosplaying, right? You've already started cosplaying. Plus, you're there at all the cons too. She's there in a cosplay, and you're not always in cosplay, but you're still there.
Since day one, we've been to almost every single event together.
Yeah, that's adorable, by the way.
And when Matt's at a con, I'm sorry to tell you this, Jeff, but he's really the con dad. He's the one that's taking care of everybody, right?
You can take that, man.
Again,
I'll be the creepy uncle. He can totally be the con dad.
This guy is he's the real con dad for sure.
Done. I bequeath upon you the mantle, my son. Use it wisely.
Oh, you're the con daddy.
Listen, all right, fuck off. So, anyways,
that mantle's gonna stay.
Jesus wept.
Just saying. We got a bunch of people in the chat already.
Do we? Who's listening to this shit? Come on, man.
I know. We got Nicole Boland firing off firecrackers. Nita saying, hi, everyone.
I thought that was a burrito. You're right.
Or maybe it's a burrito.
Okay. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Christina saying hello. Yeah. What's up, Christina? Bob is in the chat. Bob, again, hope you're doing well. Good evening, you magnificent geeks. Well, thank you very much.
Nada, Victoria, do not encourage this shit.
Oh, hands down, Con Daddy. See, there you go.
No.
Everybody's saying he's the Con Daddy,
No,
or
no,
as
no.
Victoria likes,
Captain
Captain Daddy.
See, Natasha's saying Con Father, which is way more respectable, I think, than any of those other ones.
I don't think you're at that phase. Yet.
No, I'm not in the father phase yet.
No. Still Captain Daddy.
Are we going to talk about something, or is it just going to be this all? I'm listening in secret. Why, Andre? Is it? It's you can tell people it's okay. Is it? Are we that lame that you have to listen to us in secret?
You might be at work.
No one can know I'm listening to these fucking geeks.
Don't let anybody know.
Don't let anybody know I listen to this shit.
It
Con
says,
Daddy
I
forever.
like Matt as the Con Father. There you go.
See,
the Con Father. That's.
I don't know about that, but you know.
labels. What are we doing?
Points of order that I want to make. For
please.
one, it's our buddy Evan's birthday today. Billy, happy birthday, buddy. I forget how old he is. I feel like he's almost an old man now. He's like itching closer to being an old man. Our buddy Evan. Evan used to live on the street here. He's one of the our street guys. Hashtag our street. So Billy, happy birthday.
What
bud.
are we doing?
Anyway.
This, but happy birthday. Second point of order that I want to make, guys, we've got a superstar in our midst. Did you know? Like, I don't want to call him a big time movie star, but maybe a big time
fuck off.
TV show star. That's right. Our very own Mr. Aka is starring in his own TV show. Well, actually, it's a pilot to begin with, right? So let's clear it up. They filmed the pilot. People can see the pilot Sunday, July 14th, 7:30 p.m.
in Windsor, Ontario. That's where they're having a big
Windsor Center for Film, Digital Media, and Creative Arts.
Correct.
Very good.
How long is this show? How long is this pilot?
About a half hour for the first episode, 25 minutes to 30 minutes type of thing. So your typical sort of web pilot type of thing. So we shot it over 3 different weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a passion project of our good friend Robert Bellamy, the gentleman that owns and runs CK Expo. So he's an amateur filmmaker in Southwestern Ontario, and he asked me to be part of it. So it's the third or fourth production of Rob's that I've been on, but we got some help this time from a really great guy named Walt, who was our DP and has worked in Hollywood, has shot film, and so he really kept kind of things going and helped a lot on the technical side of things. So some of the past projects that we've done, either, some of the editing was off or the sound was off and they didn't get released or whatever, but seems like the first project that we shot, start to finish, filmed, in the can, edited, music in, the whole 9 yards, and now released. So what they're hoping to do is drum up some interest and possibly get some kind of a backer and then start funding it for an actual web series to start with. So we'll see. Unfortunately, the premiere is on a Sunday night in Windsor, and I'm in London, and I work at 4 a.m. on Monday morning in London. So I can't actually be at the premiere, unfortunately, but they're going to send me some.
How long were you working on it?
Like I said, over 3 weekends, traveling back and forth between. Actually, we did do some shoots in London. We did some drone shots in the car, driving and that kind of stuff. But most of it was shot in Chatham. So it was back and forth a few different times, working the weekend. And yeah, it's he's got an entire script. He's got like a movie length script that he wants to shoot, but we just shot the first 12 scenes of it, I think, and that's what's been released. So he aired it. He screened it, at CK Expo in one of the screening rooms there. So we got a chance to see the finished product. And
so you've already seen it.
So here's the thing. I know this is going to be like, fuck you, you're lying. So I can watch myself on a podcast all day long because I'm just me and I'm an idiot. I don't care. But when I'm trying to act and I'm trying to be somebody else, I can't watch myself. It's cringe as shit. So, but I'm like the lead or whatever, right? So Rob's like, I kind of need you to be at the screening. Like, can you please come to the screening? Because like I have to talk about you because you're the lead. I'm like, fine. So so I have watched it. I'm cringy as shit in it, but overall, it's fantastic. It's shot great. The music's awesome. The editing is wonderful. The cast and crew were fucking amazing. So yeah, there's a couple of people. There's a gentleman who's on the poster, actually, Josh, had never been on a set, had never acted once in his entire life, and he steals the fucking show. He's fantastic. He's so good. So
some people just have it.
Yeah, he definitely had it for sure. Yeah, he killed. We had a couple of scenes together, and it was fucking magic. He was really, really good. So, the question I'm getting the most is where can you see it other than seeing it at that premiere? I don't have an answer for that yet. I don't know if Rob is going to try to tour it on like a little bit of a circuit or whatever, because he does a few different things. He does the Chatham International Film Festival. He does Blood in the Snow. He does a few. So I don't know if he's kind of holding it back and touring it that way. So it's not going to be out for general release yet. When it is, I'll let people know and encourage them not to watch me in it, but to watch it anyway, because a lot of really dedicated people and cool people made the film and want to make more of it. So yeah. Anyways, thanks, JS, for bringing that up.
Guys, if you get a chance to go to Windsor Sunday, July 14th, this Sunday, 7 p.m., go check it out.
Yep.
Windsor Center for Film, Digital Media Art. Sorry. The Windsor Center for Film, Digital Media, and Creative Arts.
Yep.
Congratulations, bud. Congratulations for the whole team. Like, that's awesome. Like, seriously, I saw the poster and you posted it today? I saw it today.
Yeah. Rob officially released the poster talking about promoting the premiere. So I was like, is this the official poster? He's like, yep. I'm like, cool. Then I'll put the poster up so I can help promote the...
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. That looks amazing.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it.
Anywho. Moving right along.
So before we lose everybody that's watching this,
just plummeted.
The views are plummeting. Well, that's okay.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we're used to it. I mean, we're just a bunch of nerds ranting away here. And cheers to you too, buddy. Mm-hmm.
Actually, you talk.
You're drinking, another one. But you know what I'm drinking. It's summertime, guy. Fuck. Okay. We started getting 30-degree weather in friggin' May this year.
Yeah,
We are now, it was ridiculous. We are now not even mid-July, and it feels like it's already been the hottest summer we've had in a long, long, long time, and the summer's almost starting. It's been pretty warm.
It hasn't been the most humid summer, but it's been nice and hot.
Yeah.
I don't find it as humid as a few other years in recent, but it's been nice and hot.
It has been hot as heck, and getting into full costume not necessarily the best idea in this kind of weather, but we do it anyway because we're stupid that way.
Suffer for the cause.
We suffer for the cause. When you guys are starting to plan for a summer convention or maybe even like a summer event or a summer shoot, but I mean, obviously we want to focus on the convention side here today. What are some of the things that you're going to start thinking about before you even start planning what your cosplay is actually going to be?
So going to an event, typically I'm not in cosplay. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not usually in cosplay. I'm usually behind the scenes. So when we're going to an event, whether it be summer or fall or whatever, we always have to plan for the heat or the rain or whatever weather might be in that season.
Heat takes a toll on many different types of costumes. So generally, I like to look at the weather ahead to see what that weekend is going to be like. And that kind of helps me gauge what costumes I'm going to decide to suffer through for sure.
Think about, things that you have to bring with you, like a coat. Or in the summertime, you're not bringing a coat, but you're bringing, water. And what costumes are you going to be wearing? Is it going to be rain safe? Because just because it's hot doesn't mean it's going to be dry. Do you stay in a hotel at the event, or are you cabbing or walking because you're just down the street? Are you going to be able to get to the event if it's too hot? She had a costume melt off of her in Fan Expo a few years ago.
So let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second. So, like, actual costume choices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fan Expo is by far probably our hottest con of the year.
Hottest event. And
the hottest event of the year.
We didn't think about the heat for that one.
The direct sunlight outside.
It was before the event. We were on the way there. And the heat was just so hot and her costume just melted. I think she got one photo with someone, and it was a construction worker on the way to the event.
Foam and war blob mostly, and just being in the direct sunlight for the length of time to walk to the event, let alone the lineup to wait to get in. it did its damage before I even got in. So by
Did
the
the
time I got
Warbler
in,
start
I had a
warping?
backup costume. I had to just change out of it really quick.
Oh, I'm assuming the Warbler started warping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it just pieces were just sort of starting to come apart, and
Some of the glue was becoming too warm, and it just started to like come apart from
Yeah.
things. It was really, really sad. But
we were outside
what are
for
you gonna
quite a
do,
while
right?
because it was, I think, the Saturday, which is always like nuts
Yeah, it
for a
was
fan
Saturday.
expo. So the lineups were just
It was,
outrageous, and there was no shade.
it
So
was one of her versions of Witchblade.
yeah,
So I mean, it's only 40% costume
Like
coverage,
a-
anyways, at best. And it just started melting, and we
not a good
literally.
time.
She shows up to the event like holding her costume and going to get changed.
It
It
was
was
a
terrible.
nightmare.
So we almost always bring extra costumes with us to the event. So if it's a 4-day event, bring 5 or 6. Because if one doesn't work, or if you forgot a piece that you didn't realize,
Or if you're wildly uncomfortable, it's
Uh.
good to have a backup.
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
that-
gonna
that
feel
bit
attacked
us
there.
too. So
Also, some of those costumes you can really only stand to be in for a few hours because of the heat.
Mhm.
So
Well,
then,
when you're going to start building a new costume, is that something that you guys take into effect? I know I do. If I'm building a costume that I'm going to be building
it depends. Usually, like
for
my
Fan
PA people
Expo,
will take the wheel, but
like what about you guys, Jeff and Rob? Like when you guys are planning on your specifically your Fan Expo costumes. Let's use Fan Expo as the con, right? It's the summer con. It's the one that's mid-August. It's probably, like I said, by far our hottest one of the year. Is that affecting at all what costumes you're going to be wearing or what new costumes you're going to
thank
be
you very
putting
much.
together?
In
Matt is
my case-
cosplay handler goals. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So that's something I'm definitely thinking about now. I didn't think about so much the first few years, but I definitely think about now. And for those costumes that are definitely the heavier ones with the foam armor, super hot, starting to incorporate a backup, like a low-key backup cosplay for, like you said, Becca, you can only wear for a few hours, and then by then you're dying of sweat. Time to change out into something else. Try to go low-key with a backup one, just stay cool.
like you would be crazy to wear Kylo.
Yeah. Well,
Completely in robe and black robes, like that's
that one's not as bad, but the one that
really.
was the Riddler.
Oh,
And I, the mask that I have has it's like the winter lining in it.
yeah.
So I knew going into it was kind of a risky move to wear that costume in August. And after about an hour, I was like, "That's it. This is retired. I'm never wearing this one again."
yeah.
Way too hot.
Yeah, through the years, it's kind of changed over the course of, because it would depend on, and this sounds so silly, but it would kind of depend on the reception for the costume. Like, I did Negan for so long, and people loved it so much, but it's like I remember doing a July 1st parade, like a Canada Day parade, like downtown Chatham, and I've got the leather coat, the scarf, the glove, the pant, and the sweat's just pouring off me, but I agreed to do this, so I went out and did it. And the reaction to that character at that time was so gigantic. I always felt like literally bad taking it off, because then I feel like I'm letting people down that want to interact with that character, want to see that character. And so the same thing kind of happens if I'm doing a character that's really hitting or really nailing. But now with the booth, that adds another level on top of that as well, because now I feel like we're having to entertain, we're having to bring people in, we're having to create an experience of some kind. And the only way for us to do that is if we have top shelf, really cool looking costumes. And a lot of those costumes are fucking dreadful to wear, especially in the summertime, especially in the heat, right? Like, I've already ordered my Stormtrooper, and I know I'm going to be fucking miserable wearing it, but I ordered it because I knew it would be cool at the booth and bring people. That's not the only reason why I ordered it, but you know what I'm saying? Your motivations kind of change over the years based on what your level of interaction with other people is going to be. If I'm going to a really small con, or I'm wearing something that's kind of like a weird one that's a one-off that people aren't really going to write, or I'm part of a big group, then I don't necessarily mind getting out of it relatively soon if I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. But I have suffered, kids, to stay in a costume specifically because people were reacting to it really, really well, or because I was part of a bigger thing that required me to be...
When she
that
did the
person.
Austin Powers and you were part of the group, I'm
No,
pretty
dude.
sure you didn't stay in that costume all day. But you were part of a bigger group, so it was, necessary or whatever. And then you
Yeah,
took
but
another-
for like that's a good example though, Matt, because then like I don't necessarily like because I was number 2 in that group, and don't get me wrong, it was fantastic. That was one of the funnest groups I've ever been part of, for sure. And people still to this day talk to me about that group that we had, just because there were
That's
so many of us and so many people did it so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, later on that day, I got into comedian, and we had our Watchmen group. So I went from one group to
Yeah.
another group. So I didn't feel like sometimes it's cool because you don't feel like you're necessarily like, you guys didn't need number 2 to be part of that group. That group still worked because there were like 30 fucking people in it and everybody looked
But there's more-
amazing.
but if everyone thought that, the group would have only been 10 people.
No, I know. And that's why I showed
So
up and I did my
Every
part.
character mattered.
Yeah. No,
for
I
the
get
group.
that.
Yeah.
So,
But sometimes you get a chance, right, to kind of step back. Like that's when
Yeah.
it's been nice working with these guys, because then if there's a day, like when they're doing the Preds, I can do whatever the fuck I want because
That's got to
they're-
be one of the worst costumes to wear in the heat is the Predators or the anything big like that, right?
I've met a guy that has a
Yeah.
Xenomorph
How do you-
costume, and he's just completely doused
Yeah.
after like. an
How do
hour.
you guys prepare for wearing those for events like that? Like you don't go outside, do you?
Well, in the heat of the summer, I try not to.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
I
Right.
mean, listen, we
Stick
were
with the
supposed
AC.
to. Yeah, we actually tried to get. That's why he's not here right now. We actually tried to get out last weekend to actually shoot something, and it was, dude, it was like 40 degrees. It was
Lost
40 degrees. Right.
Ugh.
So we're
Space
like, you know
Oasis.
what? No, like this is stupid, right? Like we can't.
By the
do
way, if any
this.
furries are watching this, I'm sorry, guys. I know we're talking shit, and you guys are probably like, you guys don't know nothing.
No
I can
kidding.
only imagine. I can only imagine. I
I don't
mean,
want to.
yeah, but yeah, the predators
The
aren't.
closest I came was the Mogwai, where it's only part fur, and that was pretty warm.
Mhm.
Or Beast, that one was
Beast was
was hard to manage because with the sweat, you have to worry about the body paint running, and
You
then
did
there's
in August.
mix and fur and foam and just so many layers.
Mhm. And you did that for Fan Expo.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
commitment.
stuck to the shadows and the air conditioning.
Mhm.
even
So-
even in the building. There's pockets where it gets hot, and you're like, I gotta move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, because the
So
con gets
the-
crowded, right? So whether there is AC or not, at one point it's going to get smoking hot in those convention centers.
the Rainbow Bridge was the worst. Getting across
Mhm.
that bridge, it was like a sauna. I thought
Well,
I was going to
exactly.
there.
The
Yeah,
sun's
it's all
beating
glass.
down on it all day long, right?
Yeah,
So why the fuck do we do it? Like, why do we put ourselves in these positions where we're wearing this ridiculously hot costumes in this terribly hot
I think you
weather?
actually kind of already touched on it.
Yeah.
When you get there, and like I get to see it third person actually, because she's usually in cosplay, and I'm holding all the stuff, and people's faces just, and they come up to you, and it's all worth it. I've seen her throw her costume. I'm done. I don't want to build it anymore. And then she goes back to it and finishes it and takes it out and wears it. And the people that interact with you, I think, are one of the biggest pushes
blood,
for
sweat,
doing
and
it.
tears.
They, especially if they appreciate for how much work went into it. But if they've never done that and they just appreciate the character, when people say things to you like, I've never seen one in person, I've never seen one this good, I've never, gotten to touch this kind of a prop, and it just, I think it makes it
The
all worth
excitement,
it. The
yeah.
excitement, the appreciation. I think that's a big part of why people do it. I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, peer pressure.
The elements of that.
You
I
wear
don't know
the-
why you got to attack Rob like that. That's not cool. He's sitting right there.
No,
man.
I'm just kidding. I mean, you're right. You have a very good point, Matt. I mean, the reaction that there are certain, I mean, Jeff said it right. There's certain cosplays that just hit with people, and it comes with the good and the bad, right? It's not always good, but when it's good, you feel like a fucking rock star, right? At the same time, I think that
Yeah,
a big part for me is to be able to hang out with you guys, right? Like to be able to go to these cons and hang out with my friends and have some fun, and at the same time, all of a sudden, all these people are freaking out because they think our costumes are cool, yeah, even better, right? So why do we do it? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
Right? We sweat our balls off, but it's fun. And that's why you need to be prepared. You need to
Yeah.
prepare ahead of time, especially in some of these summer cons. You need to pre-prep.
Absolutely.
Do you guys do any pre-prep? Do you do like
Summer's
any
beautiful.
hydration or nutrition stuff? Or like, what do you guys do before a con? Do you do anything like that? Like, no, I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm dehydrating. I'm killing myself before the con.
Yeah.
I don't know that we do a lot of like prep in terms of like hydration or anything, but we usually make sure that we have like water and fruit and stuff like that
Mhm.
with us, stuff that's easily, accessible to grab out of your bag and just snack on the go, so you're not stuck eating con food all day. Water is just a big thing. I can never get enough water especially like wearing all the wigs and stuff. You dehydrate like that. It's really quick. Hellboy, I get so hot and so thirsty when I'm wearing that like we always have water.
Eating in the morning is huge. So many people don't eat breakfast.
Mhm.
So we almost every time now, we get either smoothies or an actual breakfast in us before we start the day.
But nothing too
But
heavy,
nothing
so that
heavy.
you're
So
not
it's like,
feeling gross.
fruit and
Yeah.
yogurt, and everyone eats something different, but just getting the day started like that with some food.
That's a
'Cause,
good
you're
point,
on,
because a
you're on
lot
your
of these,
feet all day and you're hot and
yeah,
sweaty and whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
a lot
the
of these
con food,
cons, you're not going to eat all day, right? That's going to be your only meal
Yeah.
potentially till
That's
like
it.
6 or 7 at night, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out too, guys, because we're obviously going to talk about a lot of the obvious shit. Stay hydrated, eat, good footwear. Like we all know these things. We're adults, but make sure being in that terrible heat and being in the costumes, it's going to affect you mentally as well. So make sure you're building in some certain mental breaks for it's okay for you to decide that you're going to take yourself out of the situation for a bit, not because you're hot, not because you're sweaty, not because you need a drink. We all know those things. We all know you need to have those, but because you're just so mentally overwhelmed, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but the heat makes it worse.
It does.
I find it affects me more when I'm hot. It happened to me at last year's Fan Expo on the Friday. I was dressed up as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I still had my watch on, which is like a smart watch. And all of a sudden, my watch was giving me. I started getting short of breath, and I got really like whatever was happening, and my watch was giving me an alert because my pulse had doubled. My heart rate went from 80 to 160. And I was literally having like some sort of I don't know I've never had a panic or an anxiety attack before, but that's clearly what was happening. Our good friend Teresa was trying to like talk me off the ledge to get me to sit down. So I went in the back, and I'd only been wearing Obi-Wan for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops. And I'm like, I got to get out of this fucking costume. Like I'm freaking out. I have to get out of this costume. And I know I wasn't necessarily overheating because I'd only been in it for like an hour and a half, but mentally I was wigging out. So that can happen too. And I know the heat was part of it because Obi-Wan is like 47 different goddamn layers. So make sure that you're preparing yourself mentally as well. Yeah, hot makes you more irritated. 100%, Tim. I was a little bit beyond irritated at that point, but absolutely, it was dreadful. So the mental game is an important one too, guys. It's not just keeping the physical. Your physical well-being is obviously super, super important. But your mental well-being.
Cosplay.
I admire the people that can take the step back and not be so heavily involved all the time. You need that time, man.
It's so community-based too. This whole thing. So everyone's joking con daddy and stuff, but I always ask people, have you eaten? Have you had any food? Have you sat down? Like,
So many people
keeping them thinking about it, because like when you're in costume, you don't think about it sometimes. And so I always ask, are you
We've
okay?
seen
Do you need
people drop
anything?
like flies. It's not pretty. So
No.
Does beer count as food? No, probably not.
Sorry.
So does beer count as food? There's some nutritional value there. There's some,
it's calories.
It's
I don't know if
calories.
they hydrate you, but
yeah, exactly. It's all
like the fuel.
I have like liquid bread.
Yeah.
it's liquid bread. I like that.
On top of a lot of what we've been suggesting here, something I do, and I think Jess does too. I'm not sure if it's for the same reason, but I always start off. I'll have my meal. I usually have an energy drink, like Eric said here in the comments, but I'll take some Advil. I'll preemptively take Advil because I know one way or another, due to heat or
Yeah.
lack of hydration or wearing like a 10-pound thing on your head, I'm gonna start getting a headache. So I preemptively start off taking a couple Advil.
For me, it's not even just about the headaches. It's about the body pains, period, right? Like I'm going to be in costume and on my feet all day. I have bad feet. I wear orthotics and you know, my posture is horrible. And I'm probably like 30 pounds overweight. So, you know, being on my feet all day is hard on my body, right? So Advil just helps me keep going throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
At least in the morning. I don't know if it's, maybe it's a placebo thing. It just...
I
like
think
my mind is off of how my body feels.
when we went to YetiCon, we've only been once, and it wasn't the best experience, but it was a pretty
It was
okay
incredibly
experience.
hot.
But it was very hot, and we were also in the water. And that day, I was at the end of it. I had to drive home. We drove like, what is it, almost 4 hours
Yeah,
for us.
something like that.
So that was an oversight.
It was an exhausting day.
It was a long day. And
you don't realize that it creeps up on you, and then all of a
so
sudden, you know, you're
even
just
being
gassed.
even being seasoned enough to know all these things, it still happens. And I was just thinking about it. So we were using Fan Expo as the example, but YetiCon was a little different, and the mental game was different because, you know, you're at a different event. It's a water park area. There's pools and stuff like that. So not a water park.
And we can always check in with each other. I mean, not everybody has that. It's good to have somebody to check in on you.
But specifically,
Yeah.
that one was, there was almost, if you didn't go in the buildings, you had to be very careful with the sun. And I am of the clear variety. So I
The
burned.
clear. You're not pale, you're clear.
Beyond the pale.
He's beyond pale.
So I got
Translucent, if you will.
He's got about 90 seconds in the sun.
My superpower. So, you know, it happens even to the people who have been doing it for, you know, 10 years or more, just by accident. So, you know, keeping each other accountable at events, it does help. You know, be like, hey, dude, you're getting sunburned. You might want to, you know, get out.
Yeah.
It helps because someone's like, oh, you know, dang, I didn't realize I was burning, you know, or whatever.
I feel like the sun, both the sun and the heat are a little bit treacherous that way because you don't really know you've pushed it too far until you've pushed it too
And
far.
then if you're posing for photos and all that stuff, that can actually warm you up quite a bit too, because it's all this different movement and people are all around you. And before you know it, you know, you could exhaust yourself and people are still trying to take photos of you. So it's fine. It's good to also know your exits. Like, I got to get out. I got to go over here, or I got to go over here. Like, plan kind of an escape route if you need to make a quick getaway, I think is important.
Especially if you're in costume or cosplay all day. Like some people, Chris Borges, he's like there at open, he's there till close, he's in cosplay all day. Some of us aren't that committed, and even we are a little bit lax with, you know, we'll get there, you know, whenever.
We'll get there when we get there.
And then, you know, just being chill about it. But if you're there all day, man, like, it's a long weekend, and some of those people are just troopers.
Yeah.
So hats off to the people who do it all 4 days, or, you know, all 3 days of an event.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Especially-
AGB prematurely. I'm
especially-
actually only 32 years old, but I look this late. Someone's mentioning it up here too, by the way. I think Tim's saying have some friends to touch base with is great, which is what Matt and Becca are kind of talking about. And of course, we get to as well when we're at the booth. Me, Rob, JS. Of course, we always have producer Jen there. Jamie's there a lot of the times too. The base of operations is from is nice as well. So we've mentioned it before. We're going to mention it again. Our good friend Allie's kind of chiming in here with that too. Geeks & Co. or Lindy Cosplay Supplies are my home base at cons. We've said this before, guys. Granted, I mean, there are times where it gets overwhelming at the booth. We might be like, hey, guys, we got to let people like still get into the booth. But there's never going to be a time where we're going to be like, you're not welcome here. That's not cool.
Yeah.
If you're overwhelmed, if you're having a hard time, if you need to get away from the crowds, the heat, the whatever, come to the booth. That's why we're there. Again, our buddy Andrew said it best, right? That gives wayward cosplayers a place to go and hang out and stuff. And also using it specifically to meet up with your friends. The accountability thing that Matt and Becca have is great, and what we have is great because we have the booth. But a lot of cases, you guys are at this giant event with 150,000 people, and you've lost somebody, and you got to figure out, well, what are we gonna do? Well, meet me at the Geeks & Co booth. Just hang out there, and we'll catch up there or whatever. So, make sure you've got those places that you can get to that A, you're going to be accepted, and B, you can get away from what you need to get away from to gather yourself mentally, or take your costume off for a bit and just relax.
I was just going to say, that's I think is the important thing as well, is the ability to get out of your cosplay, right?
Yeah,
Don't go to a con in your cosplay with no clothes to wear, because what do you do once you can't wear your cosplay anymore, right? So make sure you
sometimes even just wigs take a toll on you. Like, they don't let any heat escape from your head, and it's on you all day. So
and pulling your head back.
It's all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm new to the wig life, but it's not fun.
No, I have
The best part of the con is taking the wig off at the end of the day.
I remember.
No, you go.
I remember. I want to say Fan Expo last year. It might not have been Fan Expo, but getting out of our Predators, and not only were we like drenched, where we could like twist our suits and water would come out, but when we took our headpieces off, the inside of the foam, because our headpiece is all foam, right? It's a foam cap.
Yeah.
It was like completely drenched, right? Like it's
my Lord Commander helmet.
Yeah.
When that headpiece starts getting, for me anyway, super hot and sweaty, it starts going.
It slides, it pulls back,
sliding backwards.
Right, you constantly.
Have you ever seen me doing this?
Yeah.
Constantly messing with it.
I'm constantly pulling it forward for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's being super nice in the chat, but they're also agreeing with the wigs. Absolutely, yeah. Ripping off
I
the
haven't
wig.
got there in my cosplay career yet, but
no, I'm relatively new. Boromir and Ron Burgundy and Witcher, of course, are all wig ones. So I absolutely get it. Thor is worthy. I understand how women feel taking a bra off after the day is taking a cosplay off. I mean, you probably don't, but I mean, I will. You don't have to wear the wig every day, sir. So, I mean, I guess work from home ladies probably don't have to. You know what? We're not even going to go down that road. Anyways, yes, getting the wig or the helmet or now that I've been doing Joker a lot lately too. My face is like literally just covered in makeup the whole time, and it's not breathing, it's not sweating. I've got primer on, then I've got the white base, then I've got all the black, and then I've got the red and shit. Like it's taking that makeup off at the end of the day is fucking heavenly, man. It feels amazing.
Like you can breathe.
My skin, you can literally, feel my skin. Or this is going to sound really stupid too. Contacts, taking the colored contacts out of your eyeball for the first time and having actual air hitting your eyeball. Fuck me, man. That's like the best feeling. So it's all man suffer for the art, right? Like any of those things are just amazing. But track pants for the win. I agree, Peter. Most of my cosplays don't involve track pants, though. That's Thor. Thor's worthy. He gets to wear track pants. That lazy piece of shit. I gotta wear like friggin' leather chaps or whatever the hell I'm wearing. I guess I'm a weirdo. I don't mind wearing the wigs all day or longer now that I've learned how to put them on properly. Good, man, Natasha. That's awesome. I'm sure it gets better with more like figuring out the best ways to wear them and put them on and stuff, and using the wig tape and the clips and shit. Sure. Yeah. Like I barely felt my Ron Burgundy wig. That was fine. But the Witcher wig and then the Boromir wig is really heavy. Like it you can feel it pulling on your head by the end of the day for sure. So
oddly, my Austin Powers wig is really bad. Like it's a short wig, and I thought that wouldn't be as bad because it's not a
bushy wig.
But it's worse.
Yeah. Do you guys find the quality, like especially you, Becca, do you find the quality of the wig matters as well?
It does, because I've bought, really cheap wigs that I've refurbished myself, as well as I've bought expensive wigs. And the more expensive, the more realistic they are, and they tend to breathe a little bit better through the scalp.
That's what I'm finding. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But all these, man, these are tips, guys. Gotta try to stay cool if you can. Sometimes you can't go outside, and sometimes going outside is way worse. Moist. Peter, you terrible human.
Step into one of the washrooms, and I'll take the wig off, and I'll just let my head cool down.
Breathe for a moment.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I love it when we go to a winter con. and we're sweating and we're gross in our costumes, and we're able to just step outside into like
Oh,
the
that's glorious.
minus 10-degree weather, and it's like, yes, please. You know, we don't get that in the summertime, unfortunately. We're sweating our balls off. So, have
Yeah.
any of you, well, you know, you get my point.
Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking, have any of you built any kind of cooling into any of your costume, whether it be cooling vests, fans, anything like that? I don't know why I added
Not
fans
yet,
to my freeze, and it's just not powerful enough. Like, it just doesn't bring in really any air. So that's why I can't wear the dome, because it's too hot.
Yeah.
Right? Who launches actually I launched it at Comic-Con, so I guess that was the right time to launch it, but I couldn't wear the dome at all. It just gets too hot in there.
Yeah.
My helmet that I have for Gary Goodspeed
Mhm.
is a resin casted helmet from Married Makers,
Mm-hmm.
and it I have to put it on for photos and then take it off. Like, it's just super hot. Like, it looks 100% like the helmet's supposed to. So there's no vent holes or anything for me to breathe. So I just put it on for the photos, and then that's it. Even inside, the lens will fog up just because there's nowhere for anything to go. But that's fine.
We've thought about putting fans in it, but the question is there enough room inside it, and where to put them?
So, but we'll figure that out. And if not, it's an epic piece that I love having on my shelf, and then also wearing when.
I've seen people that make cool pack vests that go underneath their costumes, and that's ingenious. I would like to consider that one day, because it seems to make the costume that much more comfortable for the wearer. The
cooling vests, it's like a cooling liquid that goes throughout the vest, and they're pretty neat.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive though.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. I think I saw it on Adam Savage. Actually, Adam Savage was the first time I saw one of those cooling vests, and
yeah.
I don't know if it's
he cosplays the Nihilist. He has one. Is it BK Props or something like that?
Apologies for
blanking on the name right now, but I've seen a couple people that have them, and they're worth
definitely
it.
Looks
Zap
like
it, prop. Paul's the one.
Oh,
that's it. Yeah. He has one.
He has one. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that, because that's one of those things that I think if you're gonna be wearing these big crazy armors in the summertime, like for example Ben, who wears like an Iron Man or like his Master Chief, like he's covered from head to toe,
My friend
right?
He does computer fans. He uses small computer fans, and he puts them inside of the armor everywhere.
Yeah, Victoria saying, I debuted Hutler at Comic-Con, and it perfectly canceled out the heat of the con, but was not good when I had to go out to get lunch. No, I wouldn't think it would be. I can tell you I have a direct reference to with it. So the Stormtrooper that I was borrowing from our good friend Christina has 2 fans built in with a power pack and a switch. And I got to experience at Toronto Comic-Con the helmet on with the fans on, and then I had inadvertently hit the switch. One of the times that I'd put the helmet back on after I'd taken it off, I'd hit it to turn them off. But I already had it on, and there were kids coming up to get pictures, so I had to leave it on without the fans going. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like a completely different experience. Those 2 little wee USB fans that were in there were a godsend comparatively to having that helmet on without. And again, it's not doing anything for the whole rest of my body. It's just keeping my head cool. But that was enough to, I think, trick the rest of my body and be like, oh, things are great. This is fine. Like, I don't, because as soon as those fans were off, man, I was like, I'm going to die from the heat. It was terrible. So, yes, camel packs too. I know some of the guys that do Judge Dredd. And their leather, like the movie version, the Dread version, and their leather head to toe, a lot of them have the camel packs, just so they've got water through the day, because they're just losing so much. Our good friend Sam Sino is one of the Dreads. I think he's got a camel pack, and I know another guy, a 519 Dread. I think he's got one too, and yeah, it definitely comes in handy for sure. So.
Yeah, and going back to the fans, I feel like most of the 501st, they all have fans. The Stormtroopers, the Vaders.
You have to, man.
Mandos.
It's terrible if you don't
have fans. Yeah, one of the reasons why I don't wear my I don't know where it is now, but my Revan a lot. Like even when I'm in costume, I take him off a lot. It's exactly that.
No fans.
It's too hot in there, and I don't have any fans in there, so I can't keep it on. Wayne Cuff has a question for Matt. What's a cosplay you'd like to do
That you obviously haven't done already.
that you haven't done already? Because you have done some cosplays. Let's be honest.
We talk about doing so many. It's just fun to talk about. I think one of the next ones that we're gonna do is Blunt Man and Chronic.
It's Jay and Silent Bob, but they
It's
wear
their superhero version.
their superhero suits.
You know who you're talking to, right? I'm sure these two are very familiar. I think they are Blunt Man and Chronic, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, oh, sorry. Safety meetings. Sorry. Yeah, it's such a giant secret. Yeah, absolutely. Shh. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, I said nothing. Please continue on with your story.
No, I don't have any plans for anything. Blunt Man and Chronic is definitely something we want to do for the near future. But no big builds or anything like that on my
That's right, that
plans.
happens. Wayne,
Sorry
you must
to
have fallen
disappoint.
asleep or you weren't there, but question to not possible. I remember in Fan Expo 2019 when cosplayers dressed as their Austin Powers characters. Was that planned? Boy, howdy. Was that ever planned?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we planned that. I want to say like a couple weeks to a month in advance, just to gather a bunch of people. I didn't even really know half of the people that well at the time. I just wanted to cast a wide net of people that I thought would be fun and no drama and would
And
participate.
There
and
was no drama.
be supportive.
It was amazing.
And it was a really good crowd of people, and I made a lot of friends from those people since then. So it was it's a great
And
great time.
there was no one fighting over characters either.
It was very
Because
easy.
the size of the group, it could have easily been people being like, I want to be that one, and everyone was just like, do you have this character? Can I be this character? Do you mind if I do this? And
Like,
everyone
everyone was
just
welcome.
came together, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we had fembots, we had a Floxy Cleopatra, we had a
Lucky
Felicity
Charms.
Shagwell, we had Lucky Charms, we had a Scott Evil, I was number 2, we had Dr. Evil, we had Austin Powers,
We had a mole.
we had a Mustafa, we
You had a mole. That's
we had a
hilarious.
mole. That's right.
Money,
Yeah,
money,
Jordan.
money.
Jordan. Pentakill.
Oh, it was Jordan.
He was the
Yeah,
mole.
yeah,
yes,
he was
the
yes.
mole.
Jordan was the mole. And he, by the way,
he approached
killed
her
it.
and was like, can I be
No.
mole?
killed it. Killed
was
it. He looked
amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Lucky Charms. Yeah, we like the whole 9 yards. So yeah, we had a great. It was a super good time. And got again, and it was like early Sunday morning. Like I think we hit that con at like 10 in the morning on Sunday.
It was pretty much for open.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
It was
like
high energy all day
day.
long.
But it was I think for a lot of people, the music, right? Like because I had the speaker with me, and it was just like the whole group.
You could
Whenever we
hear it
moved,
everywhere.
the music was going, and it was just awesome. It was a lot.
Because
Of
we
fun.
spent a lot of the time on that 600 level in the South Building, right,
Yes.
where the carpeting is and where the murals were at the time. We did a bunch of
Mhm.
shoots in
Yes,
that
we're
area, and that's
harassing
kind of where we were
photos.
gathered. Yeah, and I don't know if we had everybody all together at one point. I think there were enough people still kind of
There's kind of an
trailing
overlap.
in and out. Yeah, but at one point there had to have been close to 20. Like at one point there was like all the we had 3 different fembots. Foxy Cleopatra, Austin, Stevel, number 2, all the villains. Like, yeah,
We
dude.
had a Vanessa Kensington, Felicity Shagwell.
Oh,
we
that's
had
right.
Foxy Cleopatra.
Yeah, it was great. It was good
And
times.
I found the shag wire underneath in the underground
No, that
parking.
was a different.
at another-
Oh, that's right. You were showing pictures of that, the
That
Shagwire.
was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean that somebody has an actual Austin Powers Jaguar parked in the parking lot at the
It was the mini.
Or was it? No, it was the
It was
mini.
the mini.
Yeah. not
Oh, the
Jaguar.
mini. Oh, I
It
see.
had the Union Jack on it.
I found it in the underground parking, and then I spent like my mission was to find who it belonged to.
That's hilarious.
Did you have a mini me? No, that was probably the only thing we did not have was a mini me.
We were missing mini. Yeah.
Yes. Victoria.
those songs
If
played
Victoria
with me.
saw us, but she didn't know us then, she totally could have been a mini me. It would have been fine. She's very wee. It would have been fine. If we do it again, Victoria, you're going to be a mini me for sure.
Absolutely.
Done.
Marcy was also saying, going back to the fan, she was saying Paul actually has fans in all his helmets. So good to know. I need to talk to Paul about a couple things actually. So I'm going to talk to Paul about some fans for my helmets.
I have.
Stephanie is saying, I've seen freezies that also have electrolytes in them. So 2 for 1s. I mean, we need to
Good
investigate
idea.
that. I would totally eat the shit out of that all day long at cons. I mean, I wish there was a good way to keep them frozen at cons, because coolers only do. I mean, I don't know that they can keep freezies frozen, but hey, I mean,
I don't know what the problem. Victoria, we'll get the little like baby carrier on the
That's what
front there.
having
We'll
a
just
hotel room
cart you
nearby
around.
comes
It'll be
in
fine.
handy.
Yeah.
Did we not have a fridge at our first fan expo? Didn't Anthony bring a fridge? Could bring a little.
Did he bring a
No,
fridge?
he
Swap it
brought a
out.
fridge.
Or no, that was Comic Con.
That was a Comic
That was
Con.
Comic Con.
That's
They brought a
fun.
fridge.
Which
yeah,
Comic
to the
Con?
booth.
Which Comic Con was that?
The first one we had the pillars at, I think.
I don't know.
Comic-Cons
What city is it in?
years
What
ago.
Comic Con was it?
Oh, Toronto Comic Con.
Oh, Toronto.
There's
all right.
Comic Cons all over the place. It's Comic Con. They're all the same. They're
JS. I love you so much. If anybody wants to donate a fridge to your Geeks and Go,
You're a jerk.
I know. We know this. We all know this. I'm not taking the piss out of you. What am I supposed to do? Can always think. I have seen actually the coolers that plug in. That wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. I don't even think they're that terribly expensive. Like one of the plug-in coolers would probably be pretty.
Yeah,
good,
a mini freezer, like Andre was saying, if there's such a thing, a mini freezer would be clutch, because
Yeah.
and
A
you
mini
just
freezer?
stash a bunch of
like freezies and shit. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Throw freezers and drinks in there, and away you
I just
go,
thought if
man.
there was going to be like a choice between a freezer or like a powered cooler, we'd probably go with the powered cooler. type
Yeah,
thing,
probably,
but
probably.
yeah. I'm out. See you, Pete. Take care, buddy.
Have a good one, Peter.
Thanks for dropping by.
I mean, we're coming up on the hour. Are there any other specific tips and tricks or things that maybe we haven't talked about that, from your own experiences, that you maybe want to address as far as anecdotes or things to watch out to, or maybe things that people might not think of that has happened to you in the past at one of these, hot summer
Like for
events?
heat related, for like
Yeah.
on topic, or
I was Lord Commander from Final Space. It was like a tiny little alien, and I had a entirely foam helmet that had just a few holes in the top, and like that almost made me dizzy after a while, because the vision is limited. You can't hear out of it, and it's hot. So it was like the trifecta was just very overwhelming. I mean, we've already kind of gone over it, but just like recognizing the signs when something's not right or you're overdoing it is, I think, the most important thing. I also like to stay in motion. I find if I stop in one area too long, and especially if it's congested, the heat just gets to you. But if you're walking around constantly, you're kind of generating a little bit of motion, and you can feel more of the breeze in the air. So I generally, if I'm wearing a really hot costume, I don't stay in one spot too long. I just kind of travel around, go with the flow, try to avoid those really congested areas. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Victoria bringing up a pretty good point that I was going to mention anyway. Personal hygiene.
Yeah.
We're not going to get picky on people or anything like that, but we're all sweaty.
Deodorant is your friend.
And let's be fair, like especially for cosplayers, some of these costumes are next to impossible to wash. It's really, really difficult to thoroughly clean some of the costumes that we do end up wearing. So
You can take a spray bottle with vodka. And you can spray leather or foam or anything, and it will disinfect, clean, and take the smell out. So that's a good.
Can't waste perfectly good vodka on
as long as it's like one for the costume, two for me, one for the costume, two for me. Yeah.
I'll just hang.
I'm just saying, like it is. Yeah, we can't say enough about the deodorant thing or the hygiene thing. Like it's extraordinarily important for cosplayers. You're going to sweat. The costume's going to absorb a lot of that sweat, and you are going to start to smell. I have some very tiny, not quite tester colognes, but I have a couple of colognes that I almost always carry with me or have with me or even like a body spray or a body mist, something
spray all the
that
time.
I can just throw on to make sure that if I start getting a little bit whiffy, then I can just dash that on there really quickly. But then, cleaning your costumes after the cons, guys, hugely important for the sweaty ones. So
wipes the sweat away. If you have like those little alcohol swabs, the ones that come in a little square packet, those are really handy at wicking away sweat. So if you notice you're already like very sweaty, you can actually use that, and it dries it up rather quick, so that at least you're not perspiring and soaking your costume. It's a way to kind of manage at least not how you feel, but how you present.
it's true.
That's a good point. Baby wipes as well, another good one, right?
Yep.
If you need to take your costume off, wipe your underarms and put some fresh deodorant on and get back into it. A little goes a long way at some of these things.
So on topic for Heat, what's the next con for you guys? Do you have one coming up before Fan Expo?
We do not, and frankly, we don't know anything about Fan Expo yet, as always. So we're completely in the dark. Yeah, we're completely in the dark as far as if we even have a booth. A couple of us have applied for media passes. Hopefully, we can at least get media passes so we can go film some content. Otherwise, we're just regular con goers for Fan Expo this year.
Yeah.
So it's probably
we're
gonna
looking
be...
to like maybe volunteer with some of the booths that we've helped before. Like we helped
Mhm.
with can cards before and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's a nice way to help out the community. It's like a home base, which is important, and you get to see all your friends and all these wonderful costumes, and that's kind of where we're more gearing to see where we can help this year. So
Mhm.
we're gonna do that.
But if you, I would say that's actually a thing too about the Heat. Being at an event where you're in the summer, if you do have a booth, you have that chance to sit down.
Mhm.
If you're just a regular con goer, which we have been for many years, and we've also boothed, it's not as enjoyable sometimes because you're always corralled like cattle.
There's not a lot of places to sit
And
down at a
if
convention
you're in a
because
hot
they
spot,
shuffle you along.
Yeah.
you're in a hot spot. So
There's no way.
sometimes
I
that
could
just
do
sucks. And I don't think there's a tip for that. It's just that sucks.
Yeah, just suffer
Yeah.
through it until you can find a place to sit down at the food
Be
court,
aware.
at the whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, actually, sorry. There is a con we're going to be at before Fan Expo.
Uh-huh.
2 weeks before Fan Expo, we're actually going to be at VonCon. And actually, aren't you guys going to be at VonCon as well?
It's up in the air. I've talked to them a little bit, but I haven't heard back recently. So we will see. I had fun last year.
We will go back.
I was a guest, and it was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But we'll see what we have time for this year, this season, with everything going on. It is a nice con. I did really like it. It's small, but it's growing, and it was really everyone was really welcoming and polite, and it was friendly, and I had a really good experience. So I wouldn't mind going again.
They had we'd never seen it anywhere else. They had an in-house like CCTV displayed on the whole in the whole like
The
room,
auditorium.
the auditorium.
Yeah.
So like people at their booths could look up and see what the local was
They
happening.
could see the
like
interviews,
the
the
stage or
contests,
whoever was
everything.
being
Really,
interviewed.
eh?
This is nice because
Yeah.
most people at booths, they miss so much because they're
Yes.
stuck at their table. They can't really leave to get away for long periods of time. And
So
this
they had
allowed them to
screens all
feel
around?
like they were more a part of everything.
There was like screens hanging
All just above.
like way above. your head,
Really?
all
I know
the
they
way
had the
around.
screen behind the stage, but I don't remember the screens hanging in the air.
Yeah, there was
That
I
was
think
really cool.
4 or 6 screens, and so yeah, like where we were standing at our booth, you could just look up and watch whoever was on stage because we couldn't see them, and it was audio and video. So that was the first time ever seeing that for an event, and that was awesome. So we had a really good time at VonCon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like we're going to be there. We're not going to have a huge booth, but we're going to be there. We're likely going to be in Predators, I guess, is the plan, unless they ask for something different. But I think that's kind of the plan so far. Should be a good time. You didn't come with us last year, Rob, did you? It was just me and
No,
Jen.
this
I
will
think.
be my first time.
Yeah, I think it was just me and and we did. I wasn't even dressed up. We just went. We filmed some content. Made a little bit of a video, and that was that. But it was
I
fun.
think it was 4 screens. Maybe less.
Matt's still on about the screens.
Was it 4?
It was cool.
Matt, we've moved on.
Yes.
Matt, this is God. Stop talking.
Before we get to the next con, I just want to bring up this comment from Nada here, who makes some good points. Bland food, lots of water 4 days before. Just specialty deodorant every night for 3 nights before, and regular deodorant during. I'm not even joking. You need to prepare. Yeah, I mean,
I'm Nada. I love you. I'm not doing any of that. Bland food and lots of water 4 days before it. Where am I going, to fucking prison? Yeah, not doing any of that. I love you. That sounds like amazing advice. Super not doing any of that.
Best I can do is a sausage
I'm gonna
with
drink
muffin
beer.
the day of.
That's right.
yeah.
I'm not super not doing any of that.
And he's probably hungover.
The next con after Fan Expo is going to be London
Con
Comic
Con.
Con.
It is. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people actually in the chat are talking about London. I saw Eric throw London Comic Con in there. I guess that's his next con.
Okay, but just no hot sauce. You're not the boss of me, Dana. I love you, but you're not my supervisor.
You guys are going to be at London as featured guests.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we are.
So you're going to have a table. You're going to have your own table.
Yeah.
And do we want to talk about what you're doing?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
I mean, we're gonna at least be there to film it and maybe even broadcast it live. That would be cool, I think.
That would be
That would be
great.
sick.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. We're still ironing out back and forth with the organizers where we're going to have it set up, like the staging area, in terms of the schedule for the event itself. But yeah, we're going to do a speed build, which basically you'll have a short amount of time to build a costume and a smaller amount of time to build a prop to go with that costume. And you're going to register at our booth, and we're going to put people in little teams so everybody gets kind of a chance to meet new people as well.
Rob,
There's going to be a children's division and an adults division.
You're gonna smoke those kids.
we're gonna smoke all those kids.
So all the kids will come and
It's
do
not kids versus adults.
Oh.
Everybody will come and they'll be worked into little groups, and they'll have a timer and they'll go and build. People are welcome to come and spectate at that time, or they can show up after for the presentation round, where everyone gets to show off what they've made, say a little bit about it,
At the end.
and then the crowd basically is going to dictate who wins by a round of applause. Then later on in the day, we're going to do a version with older people, teens and up, to do the same thing. So we've had a lot of generous donators jump on and they're going to donate supplies for materials for building as well as tools. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Kind of thinking like it'll be one horde of prop and supplies.
Like a premium box of
So
stuff,
and then
and
on
then
the
a random
on the
box.
outside of that would be tables or stations where people work, and they just all kind of go for the same materials, and like it's fun. So share, but
There will be frenzy.
it's gonna be fast. So like we wanted to have everyone in teams, give them like 10 minutes to come up with a sketch or like an idea of what they want to do. An allotment of time, we're kind of talking like 20 minutes, half hour to build said design, and then just see what you end up with. We had thrown around the idea of doing the costume and then the prop. We aren't 100% on doing
gonna
both, but
Be dependent on how much
Yeah.
time we're given and the space we're given, but
so we had originally talked to them, I
it's gonna
think, about
be-
having about an hour. So we figured
Mhm.
10 minutes, half an hour, and then another 10 or 20 minutes to do a prop with a 10-minute conclusion for an hour. But yeah, we wanted it to be like audience applause
it's
for
sort of
who
like
wins or who has the better.
test people's ingenuity and creativity with limited supplies. It's meant to be fun and silly. It's not going to be anything too
Yeah,
serious.
there's no paint. There's no like
So-
it's like kind of like a glamorized version of like playing dress up with your kid, or as a kid, and you're like, oh, look at my dope ass hat, and like it's you think it's a hat. It looks maybe not like a hat, but I don't know. We think it's gonna be fun. We've seen it done before. Someone else did it. We can't fully take credit for the idea, but it was just a lot of fun. It was frenzy and foam and
Lots of
ribbon
smiles,
and stuff flying
lots of
everywhere. It
laughs.
was a lot of fun.
I had the pleasure of hosting a 1-hour speed build with our buddy Aaron for Married Makers and Avera Cosplay. And let me tell you
Nice.
something. Freakish actually was in this. Our buddy Fred Wolf Cosplay was in this. There was a lot of people in this, and what a blast that was. Some of the stuff they came up with, like Fred built like a full-blown like weapon that had like moving parts. And listen,
Wow.
it was ridiculous. the level of stuff that these guys did in an hour, but these guys are working in their own prop shops, right?
Yeah.
With their tools and all the stuff that they have on hand. So a little bit different, but still, I think this is going to be amazing. Cannot wait. But we are going to see you at Fan Expo, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yes.
We're not sure if we're going to do all 4 days. It depends on
Things.
a lot of things, but for sure we'll be there for 1 or 2 days.
Oh, there's no. They're asking, are you talking about Forged in Foam? Yes, exactly. That's what we had called it, Forged in Foam. That was a lot of fun. It was a play on obviously Forged in Fire, right? Matt, welcome to the Geek Boutique for your first time, buddy. This was awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks
We're
for
gonna
having
have you on again. Oh, we're gonna have to have you on again. Becca, I mean, I know it's like the number. Becca, I know it's like number 14 now on the podcast, but listen, we always love having you on. Mr. Roberto. Are you gonna be on next week? Garcon.
I might be. I think I'm gonna pull up a residence for a little bit and see how
I mean, I think Rob's becoming a semi-regular now.
Sweet.
So, you know.
Yeah.
We've been bugging him for 2 years. That's all. Yeah.
Exactly. Anything you guys want to pitch before we end this, as far as your socials, anything you might be working on, you know, your high fancy TV show you're working on, or anything like that?
No, I'm not that cool.
Christ.
No, I don't have too much on the go. I've got a couple costume ideas, but we'll see how they develop as they go. I don't usually like to talk too much about them until they're more into fruition, but I've got some things on the go.
Socials, Becca, at not.possible.
Yeah, not possible.
Not.possible.crochet.
Yep.
And what's the other one again? I forget what the other one is now.
Not spicy.
Is it what it is? Not
spicy.
Not dot spicy or not spicy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Always with a K, guys. KNOT, as you're seeing on the screen for those that are watching. Rob the Bad Guy. At Rob the Bad Guy pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I think I'm 2 followers away on Instagram from 700. So if you're not following me,
go give him a follow.
Round that up for me.
Come on, guys.
Smash that button.
Yeah, what's going on?
Smash
Give the guy
it.
a follow.
Quality content once in a while.
Aka?
Yeah, you've already mentioned it, so I'll promote it again. So it's called A Long Ride Home. It's hopefully the first installment of a bigger work. So this Sunday, July 14th at 7:30 p.m. at the Windsor Center for Film, Digital Media, and Creative Arts. Most of the cast and crew will be in attendance for the screening. I unfortunately can't be because I live in London and it's a Sunday night in Windsor. I just can't pull that off, but everybody else should be there. It's a great little film and we're hoping to make more of them, so go check that out. Otherwise, yeah, I'm hoping to join the guys for VonCon, but barring that, I'll definitely see you guys at Fan Expo for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't already clicked that like and subscribe button, I mean, I know we're starting to lose people again now, but you know, please make sure you click the damn like button. It really helps us out. And if you're not following us, I say it every week, what are you doing? Give us a follow. And if you click the notification bell, it'll always let you know every time we go live or we upload a video, which we haven't really done in a while, but I want to get back to that. But anyway, it's another conversation for another day. I want to thank everybody again for joining us today. Everybody in the chat, our guests. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay geeky. Guess we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss anything.